back to Dallas Cowboys coverage. I'm really excited for this one as we have finally reached my favorite time of the offseason, which is the NFL draft. We're just a few days away. We're almost there as the NFL draft kicks off Thursday, the first round, and then, of course, day 2 and 3, Friday and Saturday. So, just really exciting. I'm going to break down some of the top first-round prospects for the Cowboys, where I think they're going to go, where I think they should go, and then, we'll see what happens, of course, starting on Thursday and go through the weekend. So, thanks again, for following my off-season videos. Feel free to like, subscribe if you enjoy this one, and let's just jump right in. So, I want to start off with the offensive alignment. I think that's probably going to be the most likely direction the Cowboys go. Let me know your thoughts on that. But I think that's probably what it's going to be, probably interior offensive lineman. I think there's going to be some good guys available when the Cowboys are drafting, and I think that's just probably going to be the most likely direction they go. So I want to start off with the center, Tyler Linderbaum. He's my first guy. I like him a lot for sure. I think he's showed real promise at Iowa. A great athlete, but the only, I think, concern is the size. Only 290 pounds, pretty small weight-wise for a center. And I think that's probably going to be the difference for the Cowboys. So I don't think this is the most likely option for the Cowboys. I don't think they're that high on him just because of the size concerns. One note is that they did not bring him in for a pre-draft workout like they did for the other two guys I'm going to get to. So that definitely could impact probably, his favor with the Cowboys. So I don't expect him to be the pick, even though I would like it a lot, as I think we could really use an update over Tyler Biadasz, who I was also really high on a couple years ago. So, I'd love to see him improve. That would be, I think, the ideal option. But most likely the Cowboys will probably have to go in another direction at the center position. Don't think it's going to be Linderbaum, but, we'll see. You never know. The draft can be crazy sometimes. So, moving on next, I want to go with Kenyon, the offensive guard from Texas A&M. This pick I would like a lot just an easy plug-in replacement for Connor Williams. I think he's a better player than Connor Williams was for the Cowboys. I think he can be, easy day one starter. The Cowboys did bring him in for a workout. I think they like him a lot. So I think that's probably, if I had to guess, I think that's probably the most likely pick. I think Kenyon, guard from Texas A&M, is, probably the favorite as we sit right now. On the other hand, Zion Johnson is the other guy, guard from Boston College, and I think he could also be the pick just as likely, and I think it's really just going to be depending on how the board falls. This draft, I think Kenyon and Zion Johnson are last year's Patrick Surtain and J.C. Horn for the Dallas Cowboys. I think those are the two guys they have their eyes on, and I think they're okay either or. It just depends on who's there. And as we saw last year, neither of the two were there. So we got lucked out though because we got Micah Parsons. So the draft is really funny and it's unpredictable. This has been, I think, my most difficult year doing mock drafts because it's just been so tough to predict, especially with the lack of the really solid quarterbacks. It's not number 1, 2 top picks being quarterbacks. I mean, who knows when we'll see one? Maybe, I don't know, honestly. It could be with the Panthers at number 6. It could be out of the top 10. I don't think that'll happen just because they're quarterbacks. But it would definitely be interesting, this draft. It's really deep in a lot of positions, really not deep at some positions. But in terms of the Cowboys' needs, I think this is a good draft. Very deep. The Cowboys have 9 picks, so we'll see if they use them all. We'll see if they make some trades. Jerry Jones has repeatedly said that he'd be interested in trading up or down in the NFL draft. So we'll see, again, just how the board falls. It would definitely be interesting to see what route the Cowboys end up going. And in terms of needs, I think, again, offensive line is a big one, interior specifically. I think wide receiver is a big-time need after the departure of Amari Cooper, Cedric Wilson, Malik Turner. I think you got to replace these guys. Tight end, I think, is a need, as Dalton Schultz is just on that franchise tag. I'm not sure if the Cowboys are going to keep him long-term. I haven't heard anything on an extension for him, so that'll certainly be interesting and to see. So there's that as well. Continuing over to the defensive side, I think linebacker could still be a need probably later in the draft, depending on how Jabril Cox can do, how they use Micah Parsons, and edge rusher I think is a need. I think interior defensive lineman is also a need at some point. Safety is I think pretty solid. You could maybe get some depth, and finally kicker. I think that's going to be really interesting because the only kicker we have right now is Chris Nager. Now he'll be a second-year player from SMU, and really next to no NFL experience for him. So I think a kicker is really a likely option. Maybe it's Cade York from LSU. I think he's kind of everyone's favorite right now. Seth Small, I believe, from Texas, I think is also kind of in the running. But I think if there's going to be a year to pick a kicker, it's this one because Greg Zuerlein obviously gone. He's with the Jets now. And kicker's a big-time need. We saw how Greg's struggles really impacted this team. But again, not anywhere before, I'd say, the 5th, 6th, 7th round. Honestly, 5th is early for me. But we have 4 of them, so I wouldn't be surprised. So those are, I think, the main needs for the Cowboys. And so I'll continue with wide receivers. I want to start with Jameson Williams because I think he's sort of the wild card of this draft. I don't expect him to be there. I think if he is, that's sort of a CeeDee Lamb situation. Like, you just got to grab him. For me, he's number 1 wide receiver, no question. The ACL injury, I think, is really the only thing that could bump him down. Maybe it's going to be Garrett Wilson or Drake London instead of him. 2 guys also I do not think will be in the Cowboys' range. I think they'll be gone far before the Cowboys get on the board. Well, I would like either of them. 3, I don't think it's that likely. Jameson Williams, I think, is the best chance just because no one really knows what's going to happen with him. So I would definitely like that pick. I wouldn't get my hopes up, and there's still definitely concerns, obviously, coming off the ACL injury, but I think he's just such a can't-miss prospect. I think he's the closest thing. He's drawing Tyree comparisons, and to bring that to the Cowboys, man, that'd be awesome. Even if he missed part of the beginning of the season, same sort of situation as Michael Gallup, I would be totally on board. I don't think it happens. I think he's going to be gone before that, but a name to watch nonetheless. So now the 2 most likely options, I think, at wide receiver are Treylon Burks from Arkansas. I like him a lot. I think he would really be a good fit in this offense. I think he'd be Dak's best friend, and I really would like that pick. It's going to be interesting. I don't really think he's going to be there either, just because the Packers in need. I think they could snag him, but again, crazier things have happened, so I'd like him a lot. Same thing with Chris Olave from Ohio State. Again, not sure if he's there. I think the wide receivers are going to go early, but there's so many of them. It's so deep. One of them's bound to fall, right? So I think there will be at least one good receiver on the board when the Cowboys are drafting. Hopefully, one of these that I mentioned. But, we'll see. Again, I think that'd be an awesome pick, Chris Olave or Treylon Burks. I'd love them on the Cowboys, and I think wide receivers are a big-time need. I know that some people disagree, want to go more offensive linemen, which I also agree with. Those are my 2 wide receiver offensive linemen. I think those will probably be the top 2 picks, interchangeable, whether it's first or second round. But I think that's just that's the way the Cowboys are going to go after Amari Cooper and Cedric Wilson gone. For me, it's tough because I think CeeDee Lamb will step up into that number 1 role. I think he'll do it very well. But Michael Gallup, we don't know when he's going to come back. James Washington, I really don't want him to be our number 2 guy. Well, Gallup's gone. 3, 4, I think, is the more ideal position for him. So I think wide receiver is still really a big-time need for this team. All right, so continuing, let's go defensively. I want to hit a linebacker real quick. I don't expect them to take one in the first round, but the 2 guys to look out for are Devin Lloyd and Nakobe Dean. I like both of them a lot. Devin Lloyd, the linebacker from Utah, I expect him to probably be the first of the 2. I think he's the best linebacker in this year's class. I like the pick, but again, I don't think that's the biggest priority compared to some of the other needs we have. So I don't expect a linebacker in the first round, even though I wouldn't mind it. Same thing, Nakobe Dean. I don't think the Cowboys are as high on him, though. Like Tyler Linderbaum, undersized at his position, was not a visit, pre-draft visit. Devin Lloyd was, by the way. So I know a lot of you guys are really high on Nakobe Dean, and I like him too, but I just don't think that's the route the Cowboys are going to go. Same sort of situation with Linderbaum. They're just not too high on him, unfortunately. Alright, so now I kind of want to hit, there's linebacker. So edge rusher, George Karlaftis has been a name thrown out there a lot. I'm not super high on him. I would rather explore day 2 at edge rusher. I think it's a deep edge rusher class, but I just don't think there's going to be good value at 24. Obviously, the top guys, Aiden Hutchinson, Travon Walker, Thibodeau, I think will be long gone, even though there's been trade rumors about Kayvon Thibodeau. I think you'd have to go way too far. I don't think that happens. Not a chance. So Karlaftis, I think, is an option. I think he's probably going to be he'll probably be there, but I don't love him. I think he's a good player. I think kind of a high floor, low ceiling type of guy, which is fine, but again, just not the most explosive, not the most exciting. Can be a solid player, I think will be in the NFL, but I just think he'll be solid. He'll be okay. I don't think he'll ever be a great player like, say, Micah Parsons or, more of a quick, exciting edge rusher. So, not super high on Karlaftis, but still an option there for the Cowboys. Jordan Davis, I want to hit, and Devonte Wyatt at defensive tackle. Good chance neither of them are there. I mean, if we're being honest, I would love either one of them. Jordan Davis, a freak athlete. If you saw his 40-yard dash, that's terrifying. I don't think any running back, any quarterback wants to see that coming at them. So I would love to get him, have a true presence at the defensive tackle spot for the first time in a long time. The Cowboys, it's been a while since they've had a true impact defensive tackle. I'm thinking probably Jay Ratliff is the last really impact guy, and I think that could be with Jordan Davis. And not so much a exact comparison, but he could make a huge impact. Same thing with Devonte Wyatt. I think there's some off-the-field concerns there, though. But again, an immensely talented player. Not sure if they're there, but again, I wouldn't mind either pick, especially Jordan Davis. I'd love to bring him in here. Have a true beast at the defensive tackle spot. Be awesome. Alright, so with that, those are, I think, the main guys. I'll hit cornerback real quick just because I think a lot of you guys have questions about Kelvin Joseph. I'll hit that real quick at the end. But cornerback spots, I think Sauce Gardner, Derek Stingley, long gone by the time the Cowboys draft. And I think they're just sort of in a weird place. Maybe Trent McDuffie is there, but I just don't think it's the best value. Again, for the cornerback spot, I don't think it's the biggest need either, with Diggs, Brown, Lewis, Kelvin Joseph, all potential starters. I don't think cornerback is a huge need just because of the numbers we have, not to mention Deshaun Wright, also a third-round pick last year. So cornerback I could see later, maybe some good value, but first round I don't think that makes a lot of sense for this team. And hopefully, they don't go that route because I think that would not make sense because they just have a lot bigger needs. So I think that's about it. I mentioned kicker earlier, and I think those are kind of the big needs for the Cowboys, the main first-round guys they could potentially go after. I don't think, they pick a running back. That'll be, I think, again, later in the draft, even though they said there's interest, but again, that's going to be a value pick, maybe one of those fifth-rounders at the highest. So I think those are really, I'll go brief recap. I think offensive guard is probably number 1, wide receiver number 2 for me. Those are 1 and 2 needs. I could see them first round there, second round at wide receiver. I think would make sense just because wide receiver is a lot deeper. So if I had to bet, I'm just going to make my little prediction. I think Kenyon Green will be the pick out of Texas A&M, the offensive guard. I would like that a lot. We'll see what the Cowboys end up doing, though, of course. So real quick, before I go, I just wanted to hit on the Kelvin Joseph situation, obviously. I'm sure all of you have heard he was involved in a murder investigation. He was questioned by police. He was not arrested, has not been charged with anything as of yet. 2 of his companions, though, were arrested in a drive-by shooting that unfortunately killed a 20-year-old. I can't remember his name, unfortunately. But just such a sad situation, unfortunately, just hitting the personal side of things first. It's just really, really tough. I mean, just for the family, and prayers out to them. just such a sad situation. There was obviously conflict between the two groups, a fight before, and then a drive-by shooting that Kelvin Joseph has admitted to being in the car, although he did not possess any weapons. He was not the shooter, of course. So for now, no charges against him. That could change. It's, these legal situations, we know how they work. They could take a while. The NFL takes even longer, whether, he could face suspension. Even though he's not arrested, he could still run into some trouble with the personal conduct policy. I wouldn't be surprised if he suspended maybe 2-4 games at the beginning of the season. Hopefully not, but again, just such a tough situation all around. He's been involved in the off-season program, and I think that he will stay on this team. I don't think he's going to be cut or anything like that. But a suspension I would not rule out at all. At this point, luckily, from the legal side, it seems like he's mostly in the clear as of now. Don't want to speak too soon there because it's still an ongoing investigation. We'll let the legal system play out as it does. Hopefully, justice will be served in that really tough situation. So, Kelvin Joseph, I think he'll still be around. I don't think that's going to impact the Cowboys draft too much. Again, cornerback, they have a lot of guys. I don't think that's going to be a big need. Maybe later in the draft, but not early. So, again, let me know, who do you want the Cowboys to draft? Is it an offensive lineman? Is it a wide receiver, defensive player, linebacker, Nakobe Dean, Devin Lloyd, Chris Olave, Treylon Johnson, Kenyon Green, Tyler Linderbaum, Cade in the 5th round? Let me know if you want the Cowboys to draft with their first round pick. Let me know some guys you're interested in later round picks. I know we all have our sort of pet cats in the later rounds. So for now, I think that's about it. I'll let you go. And I'm really excited. Draft is almost here. I'll definitely be doing more videos after the draft, break down who we get, and hopefully, send positive thoughts. Hopefully the Cowboys will pick the right guys, have another good draft. Because even though the Cowboys, I would say, failed free agency, they're good at the draft. So hopefully they can keep that reputation going. Hopefully Jerry is making the picks, if it's true that Steven was the one behind Taco Charlton. If you saw that press conference today, that was pretty funny. So, we'll see. Hopefully it goes all well. Hopefully we can have a Des Bryant type of pick. That's the last time we picked 24. Hopefully we can get another impact player like that. So, again, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys next time after the NFL draft. And, again, let's go Cowboys.